Every 60 seconds, an animal is abused. According to the American Humane Society, approximately 3.7 million animals are euthanized each year. Animal shelters, however, are known for their wonders that they bring about each day. About 29% of cats and dogs are adopted from shelters each day. Or not each day, but each year, sorry. And actually from my questionnaire, one thing that really stood out was somebody answered that actually 3 dogs that are all adopted from shelters. I thought that was really cool. Volunteering in an animal shelter can cause many more adoptions to happen. It can be good for both the volunteers and the animals, both physically and mentally. What I'm going to talk about today are abused animals that are saved in shelters, the positive effects of volunteering in a shelter, and different ways to volunteer. This picture, just kind of wanted to explain it because there was a cool story behind it. The cat wasn't necessarily like abused, but it was actually left in a fire by the family because they just didn't find it necessary or important enough to actually find the cat, and the firefighter went inside specifically to find the cat, and he ended up finding it and saving it, and he actually kept it for himself and like was taking care of it and like grow up and live a life. So I thought that was kind of cool. In 2007, 1,880 cruelty cases against animals were reported in the media, which is just the tip of the iceberg of the amount of cases that go unreported. A form of abuse is dogfighting. According to PETA's website, dogfighting is a blood sport in which 2 dogs are pitted against each other in a fighting pit and forced to rip each other to shreds in a fight to the death for the amusement of monetary gain of spectator gamblers. In April of 2007, dogfighting was officially banned from the United States after professional football player Michael Vick was found with a dogfighting ring operated on his property, which actually the cops who went onto his property were going on to look for drugs and other illegal things, and they actually found the ring there and thought it was a big deal, and so they created a law against it and made it illegal. It's actually considered a felony offense with a penalty of 3 years in jail and a $250,000 fine, which is kind of a big deal. A lot of animals that are victimized are found and rescued by shelters and nursed back to health. The most well-known one is the ASPCA, and they do a lot of things. They'll either go and find animals on the streets that are lost, or they'll go to houses of animals that people have like reported finding abuse or something, and they'll go and take the animals basically and bring them to the shelter and find them a more loving home. And one that's actually in this area is called the Lawrence Humane Society, and they basically do the same thing, they're just a smaller shelter. Although such terrible acts do harm such harmless animals, a lot of them are taken in and nursed back to health in animal shelters. Across the United States, volunteers and staff in animal shelters and animal control facilities see the positive effects of taking in animals who have experienced irresponsible pet ownership and dog and cat overpopulation each day. It is known that petting animals, or even being around them and watching them, can relieve stress in your life. According to Pets WebMD, the level of cortisol, a hormone associated with stress, is lowered and the production of serotonin, a chemical associated with well-being, is increased during the presence of animals. So basically it's just saying that it can relieve stress and it can put you in a more positive mood. It's also known to keep one's blood pressure and heart rate down, so it definitely really calms people just even being around animals and then petting them and everything. Volunteering at an animal shelter would be a good idea to do during school as well, because not only will it just take your mind off being around the animals, but it can also relieve your stress of like finals or a crazy project, speech, anything. So it's a really good idea to do during school time if you have time. Now that we know being around animals can help with your mental and physical health, you might be wondering how you can get such an amazing opportunity. There are many ways one could volunteer in an animal shelter. One example is simply just volunteering in the area. They don't necessarily have an age limit, but like you could probably be like 14, I think, and go in, and they mainly will just have you do like cleaning up around the area, like cleaning the lawn, just playing with the animals, just like the simple things. And then once you're older, you can do like feeding and actually taking care of the animals. You can also take pictures of new animals that were brought in and post them on the website, such as petfinder.com. And you can try and get them adopted and to loving homes. So that's another way younger people can do it, is they can just go and take pictures and put it on in their own time. Another way you can volunteer is taking care of animals that are too little or too sick to get adopted. One of my really good friends from back home actually does this for the ASPCA. She'll take about 3 to 6 kittens each time she does it. And most of the time it's because they're too sick, but sometimes it's because they're too little. And basically she takes it in and takes care of them till they're either big enough or good enough to get adopted, and then she'll take them back. And sometimes she actually has taken one of them and like adopted it herself, so they can get up to standards, and it's actually a really cool way to volunteer. I loved when she had them. Another way you can volunteer is therapy dogs or service dogs. According to Feinberg Consulting, therapy dogs are dogs trained to provide attention, affection, and a sense of comfort to individuals in hospitals, retirement homes, nursing homes, schools, hospices, people with learning difficulties, and stressful situations such as a disaster area. There are 3 types of therapy dogs. There's a therapeutic visitation dog, and those are the kind of dogs that will visit hospitals and nursing homes, and they'll bring comfort to the patients and like brighten their day and just kind of give them attention and have people around since they're too ill to go home. A second one is animal-assisted therapy dogs, who will help with physical and occupational therapy, rebuilding, and building up people's strength and hand-eye coordination. So they do a lot of that stuff. The third one is facility therapy dogs, who are usually found in nursing homes and are trained to help Alzheimer's patients and keep them from getting into trouble. Another one that I know of that wasn't actually on this website is basically it's dogs that help with any kind of sickness. Like they even have diabetic dogs, which I thought was really cool because I'm diabetic. But a lot of people will think what could a dog do for diabetes? Like they're trained to learn like when someone's blood sugar is getting low or too high, like they can sense that and they're like able to run off and get help or something. They're even like they keep the medication and the things like that dog has, and they're kind of like they help a lot more than people really think. In conclusion, volunteering at an animal shelter can save abused animals, benefit someone in both a mental and physical way, and can train the animals to be very smart with helping people who are sick. There are many different ways you can volunteer at an animal shelter, as I said, and it all takes a little effort and the willingness to go and play with the animals, but more fun